Hello Facebook, Paul Arakelian here. Today's subject is about do you hear what you want to hear, or do you want to hear the truth? And there's a lot of merit to this question, and everybody should really pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. Because in our industry, believe it or not, there's a lot of people wanting to hear what they want to hear, and they don't necessarily end up with the right thing, right decision, right financial plan, right insurance plan, just because that's not what they wanted to hear. I'll give you an example, and the reason that I'm doing this program today at this time is because I just had an experience, and I unfortunately have these kinds of experiences on a daily basis, because people that get into a desperate situation and they want to get a large amount of life insurance on a person, on a family member, on a grandmother or a grandfather that's sick, that's got bad medical records, that's got health issues, which is not going to allow them to qualify for a large amount of life insurance. They desperately want that life insurance. So if they come to a professional and the professional tells them, look, if you have such and such health conditions, this is going to prevent your family member from being able to get $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000 of life insurance because that person's got dementia, that person's got Alzheimer's, that person is on record, bedridden or something like that. They're they're receiving those kinds of medications and whatever, and we cannot hide those things because, insurance policies, I don't know who came up with this thing to tell everybody that, once the contestability passes, then the policy, cannot ever be looked at and ever go into any kind of further review post-claim. But let me tell you guys something. Misrepresentation is about, not giving the right answer. But fraud has no contestability. So after 2 years even, if it's considered fraud, there's no such thing as contestability. They can go and contest the claim, and the claim might not get paid. And those usually would be, the kind of situations where people then end up not getting the claim paid. They end up going into a head-to-head battle with an insurance company. Obviously, the insurance company's got a lot more financial resources than the family does as far as paying for attorney's fees and everything else. So they will be very disappointed. And guess what? It becomes a stereotype. Insurance companies don't pay. But nobody ever admits that, listen, we lied to the insurance company. I mean, you're getting into a contractual agreement. You're not telling the truth from the very beginning. You expecting the insurance company to pay? Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. Try to be a liar, a con person, a conning person to your friends, and see how many real true friends you have. So you expect that you can lie to an insurance company, but when the insurance company denies the claim, are you going to say that they're a bad insurance company, we just don't believe in insurance companies? That is just, not right. So I want to tell you guys something. When a house is on fire, you can't get insurance on it. When your car is in the accident, you can't get insurance afterwards, okay? You have to have done that beforehand, when the person was healthy. You could get an insurance policy for a person even if they're on their deathbed. Those are called guaranteed issue policies. But guess what? Those policies have 2-year waiting period. They're like graded benefits. The benefit does not start from day one. So, and those things cost more money, and generally they're smaller amounts of insurance, so $20,000, $25,000, whatever, right? So people don't want that, because people have a family member who's older, who's sick. They want to get, if they died, how much money do you want to get? I want to get $1 million. But guess what? You can't do it, because they are sick. They're receiving Namenda, they're receiving Aricept, things like that for dementia, Alzheimer's, and whatever. They are considered as, not being mobile and going around, and they're considered to be home, not bedridden, but homebound, and they've got a home care nurse coming, taking care of them. They're in hospice situations, whatever. How can you just assume that somebody's just going to hand you a policy and say, okay, so we are so stupid, we're going to take $300 a month from you for the next few months or for the next year or so, and we're going to pay you $1 million when your family member passes. You know what? That happens. But when the person does not have any pre-existing conditions like that, that are life-threatening, then you can get those policies. But when they already have it, so what really, really upsets me is this, and I don't get upset very often, but it upsets me because it hurts and demeans our industry. It hurts our industry when there's amateurs saying that yes, they can do it, and they just got their license a year ago, working for some schmuck who says just make white paper turn black, just write whatever the hell you want to write on it, make sure you bring me applications so we can have a head count. We can have a head count and get a bunch of commissions. Who cares if that family ends up getting that death benefit or not, right? So the people want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want to hear the truth. Guess what? In contractual situations, contractual agreements, you want to make sure that you are completely accurate. You don't have things missing where a bigger brother who's got more money, who's got more resources and more lawyers, they can dump lawyers on you and you can be overflowed with lawyers. A big brother, you lying to them, you're giving them wrong information, misrepresenting to them. Do not think you can walk away from that with a bunch of money. As much as you think that if an insurance company and a grieving family member walk into a courtroom, into a jury situation, everybody's going to take the side of the grieving family member and not the jury. But guess what? Facts are facts. And insurance companies will bring those facts out. And when they do, you guys will be sorry for that day that you made a decision to want to hear what you wanted to hear and not the truth. Guess what? I am as interested in selling $1 million policy as the next guy. But you know what? I have to make sure that I'm really, really adequately, truthfully covering that family, that person, that insured, and not just making up a contract that's built on false pretenses and false information that could anytime be rescinded. Just give you your money back. The contract was based on fake information. We don't accept it. We're not going to accept your money. Here's your refund. Forget it. We're not paying you anything. Okay? You don't want that to happen, guys. You don't want that to happen. You want to be truthful. So when somebody, if you come to me or you go to any professional and you tell them, look, my mother is on home care services, or she's in hospice, she's got this, she's got that, whatever, and they tell you that, listen, you probably can't get a big policy, but you could probably try to get a last expense, a final expense, $20,000 burial insurance or whatever coverage, okay, with no medical questions asked, they probably know that that's the only thing they're going to qualify for. And they don't want to just give you some BS and just give you a $200,000, $300,000 policy, tell you, hey, go ask your brothers and sisters if they all can just unite and spend $1,000 a month on a policy. I'll write you guys a $250,000 policy. Your mom's 78, so it's going to cost you, $1,400 a month. And they're like, oh yeah, we can do it. We're going to get $250,000 because mama's sick, right? Let's just go do it. Let's just, hey, you know what? This guy is a professional. He's going to do it for us. The other guy, he couldn't do it. He was just offering $20,000. You know, that's exactly what happens. You want to hear what you want to hear. You don't want to say that, listen, these guys, just like, some auto insurance cases, you get a business van, a business van that's got all kinds of equipment in the van, a business truck, and you want to insure it. Obviously for business, it's going to cost more. And then some schmuck shows up out of nowhere and says, look, your Ford van that you got, man, don't worry about it. We'll do it for $50 a month. We're professionals. We can get this thing done. So what do? They don't put there that you're using that van for business. You know what they put there? They put there that you only go twice a year or 3 times a year camping or whatever. You're an outdoorsy kind of a guy. You like the nature and whatever. Go some fishing sometimes once in a blue moon or whatever. That's why you use it. It's only for recreational purposes sometimes. Guess what? You get into a car accident with that van. The insurance company comes in from State Farm or whatever, checks it out, sees, all the equipment, the machinery, whatever in that cargo van, and they say, we're not going to cover this claim. And you're like, why? How can you not cover it? Insurance is bad. They're not covering. You know what? You are bad because you tried to go the crooked ways and try to get some crafty amateur to give you some kind of a price on not your product. They were insuring something else. a van that's actually being used, whatever, or you're driving 25,000 miles a year because you're going all over town fixing homes or whatever, laying hardwood floors or whatever, and they're giving you 2,500 miles a year because you're supposed to be using it for recreation. Nothing is true about that contract, and people end up not getting paid. If there's any people here, please go on there and write some comments. Any people who've had experiences, or their cousins or loved ones or family members have had experiences where they got cheated by some amateur who wanted to just write something, whatever it is, just make sure that they can get paid, they can make some commissions, and then that family member got hurt and they never got paid. They never got paid. Okay? So for your own sake, please take into consideration what your health is, what you will and will not qualify for, okay? And based on that, in any industry, guys, in any industry, especially insurance. My friend Elise is joined. I see that. Elise is a professional loan agent, okay? She knows loans. And if Elise tells you can qualify for this much, that's how much you can qualify for. If some amateur tells you, hey, I can qualify you for $1 million or whatever, and they're gonna do whatever the heck they're gonna do, you're late for 1 month or 2 months, the bank goes into investigation, they find out it was based on a fraud, they will recall that loan. If you cannot pay that damn thing off, you're gonna lose that property. You might even go to prison for that. Elise will testify to that. And many professionals will tell you that. In any industry, unfortunately in our industry recently, the flooding of all kinds of multi-level marketing companies and whatever, you know what, this is what you get. So people go to unprofessional people or through relatives and cousins, friends, whatever. Oh yeah, I can write your grandmother a policy. So what, she's on kidney dialysis or whatever. I can write her $100,000. Don't worry about it, bro. We can do it, no problem. My boss, they're great, they're amazing, they're out of control, whatever. You know what? Those kinds of guys end up being the ones who do not get paid a dollar. So I want you guys to please pay attention to how you're doing this thing. Insurance business is a real business. Insurance contracts are real contracts. And those cannot just be written by amateurs. You have to be professional. Do not just believe everything you hear. Make sure you see it in writing. Make sure you see it in writing. Today I had a client in my office, in this office, in Glendale, California. We called a company, that's a reputable company, but guess what? They had bought a policy, it was an Index Universal Life. One of the friends bought exactly the same policies, was told after age 65, no more payments. You're never going to pay, your life insurance is guaranteed for lifetime. The other one was told she has to keep paying the payments, she's going to have tremendous amounts of cash. You know what, guys? One of them policies was guaranteed until 2021. 4 more years. They've had it for 6 years, so it's guaranteed only for 10 years. Okay? The other one was guaranteed until July of 2022. We heard it from the horse's mouth because we called the insurance company. If I say, regardless, I have 7,000 policyholders in force. Whatever I say is solid. It's written in rock. Cannot change. Okay? And this is not bragging. This is real experience, real people, real deals. If I tell them, they'll say, you know what, you're gonna, you're an agent and you're probably trying to knock the other guy, but you know what? That's not the case. Whatever's written in black and white, that's it. So they heard it from the insurance company's mouth. We called them, put them on speaker, they talked, and the insurance company said yes. And they were both very, very, very upset. Guess what? They said, we wanted to come and see you for 5 years. We've been watching your Armenian TV programs and whatever. This is so bad. I can't believe we delayed it for 5 years and we're losing so much money. But at least they're still healthy. They can still do something about it. Can you imagine if they got to that, they would have been like 66 or 67 years old and find out that now they're going to pay an arm and a leg or they're going to lose their life insurance? And then they also might have some health conditions, God forbids, and they want to get something and they can't. They're stuck. Now they've got to pay an arm and a leg to have insurance. Otherwise, no more insurance. You know why? Because it was sold by an amateur, by a multi-level pyramid scheme, okay? And that's what happens when you guys go deal with those kinds of guys. So when you're hearing things that are too good to be true, they're not true, all right? Do not doubt, do not do this and that. Whoever's saying whatever, ask them to show you in writing. So that guy that told the client that their policy would be paid off at age 65, guess what? They said it, by words. Oh, you will have this, oh, you will. And when they said, well, how come it's not guaranteed? Well, you know when it will not be guaranteed? If there was a catastrophic event, if United States was to go underwater or whatever, or if there was a major catastrophe or whatever, the world was to turn upside down and whatever, if we landed where Mars is and what, that's when it will go into zero guarantees. Guess what? It doesn't say anything about apocalypse, about any of that stuff in that contract. You know what it says? It says it's not guaranteed after 10 years. All right? So regardless of who says what, if it's not written somewhere that you can hang on to and give it to a lawyer and say, here, they guaranteed me this is supposed to be a non-forfeiture benefit, and now they're forfeiting on me. So let's go after these guys, let's chase them, that, you know, and see what we can get. And then you can get big dollar from them. But otherwise, if they never guaranteed you, they never have to stand by it. All right? Even the government protection, California Insurance Guarantee Association, it says in there, any policy or portion of a policy which is not guaranteed by the insurer, your insurance company, or for which the individual has assumed the risk, individual is you, the insured, has assumed the risk, such as variable contracts sold by prospectus, are not covered by the government. Okay? So if your insurance company wasn't guaranteeing it to begin with, and they went belly up, now why should we cover them? They weren't guaranteeing it to begin with. Even the government does not stand behind it, guys. All right? So, you know, that the Guarantee Association is something very similar to what you guys know better. It's called the FDIC, like the banks have that. Something similar goes for the insurance industry. It's, you know, in our state of California, it's called California Life Insurance Guarantee Association. Every company has to be part of that. But guess what? Some products and parts of the products that are not guaranteed are not going to be guaranteed by the government either. All right? Please take your policies out. Read them. If you do not understand, there's a phone number there. Call us, set up an appointment, bring your policies by. If you live outside somewhere far away, call me. Let's go over your policy on the phone, and let's analyze your policies. You guys don't want to find out that your policy is lapsing when you're 67 and you've got some health condition, or you had a stroke or whatever, and find out that you're losing your life insurance, your income stopped, and now you have to pay an arm and a leg to continue your coverage. So this is for you and for your own benefit, okay? Thank you very much for your attention. That energy coming out of me is because I care about my professional industry and I care about my business. When you're right, I'm 100% on your side. When the insurance company's right, I'm 100% on the insurance company's side. Make sure that your contracts are done adequately and they're done by professionals. Thank you.